Hello and welcome to Elbow Deep with Wayne. Today we've got Jazz, and Dawn.
Hello.
So
Wow.
this is our second time we're doing this, Mum. How's that?
Yes. A bit better. Still getting used to the different headset. We'll get there. See how it
Yeah.
goes. It won't be as rattly and crackly as the last one, hopefully.
Hope,
What have you
yeah.
got to
So
say, Jazz?
because we're trying to do a little bit different filming options. So now we're seeing if we can use a different headset, if we can make this work a little bit easier. Because the last one that we did, recording the audio was quite challenging, so we couldn't upload it to Spotify. So this time we're trying something a little bit different, using a different software. No, good girl, good girl. So yeah, now I'll just move it so that everyone can see. If you're watching on YouTube, you can see Jazz now being upset that I'm in her seat.
He does not like to share that seat.
No. So, Mum, what should we talk about today?
Well, we can talk about how we've got all the resources and all the different pages on our website, how people are reacting to that, because it's everything I've heard so far has been very positive. People are very happy with the resource page and didn't even know there was a gym program. That really blew some people's mind that we're putting a gym program up for free.
Yeah,
Because everyone
a
says,
PDF.
wow, people pay for this.
Yeah, I mean,
So
one of the things I noticed, a rehabilitation side of things, everyone has different phases. If you've rehabbed something, sometimes it's not about the first two phases of a rehab. It's usually the third and fourth phase people forget. So adding a comprehensional rehabilitation four phase program for the ankles, knee, hip and glute and shoulder was the best option we had. So I constructed that. And then the other limitation I found when I was doing a little bit of statistical analysis of our administration tasks last year is people wanted to have something to do at a gym, be it confidence, but getting into the gym was the hardest part. So I constructed a beginners friendly two split program so that there's 8 exercises, all with different activities with links of videos how to perform it, so you can work on your form in a way that basically makes it comprehensional for them to get into the gym. So I'm not taking away from other industries or businesses.
yes, just so they didn't look like a Gumby when they went there. They had a bit of an idea.
Yeah, well, it's all about confidence, right?
Gotcha. I'm thinking about this year of doing candles to order. If people want to order candles and how to price them, because a lot of people want candles, but they don't necessarily want what we've got. No, it's not that. Not that. Don't be like that. Like they want specific colors or specific fragrances where we make a variety, and
Yeah,
then
making it by order sounds good.
yeah. Well, as I'm working out costs and things like that,
It's
but
also a passion of yours.
it is. It is. I
Yeah.
like candles. Everyone likes
Yeah, I mean,
candles, Wayne.
not everyone, but I can see the appeal. But I think one of the things that you probably don't tell people is that if you've got leftover containers, be it from a candle, be it from a jar like peanut butter jar or something like that, you can actually create new candles for them.
Yes. Yes. I've actually just worked out, I am going to do a video down the line on this, but I've just worked out
Ooh.
how they can, I know, scare me, how they can calculate their cost by how much wax, because I charge by the cup of wax. So if I know how much wax they're going to have, then they can budget their candles, and then they can
Yeah.
pick their fragrances, colors,
Yeah,
all that
it's
sort
actually
of.
quite easy to construct homemade candles or candles in general. So I think it's quite funny when you realize how much it actually costs to make a candle when you go to places that sells candles. You learn about the ingredients in the background,
Yep.
but also you would work out how much profit and profit margins that are in there. It's quite comical.
And I'm also thinking about going back. Remember, I used to make the little roll
Oh,
oil
the
roll-ons.
aromatherapy. Yep.
Yep. I'm thinking about bringing that back in this year too. If there's
Okay.
a call for it, yeah, just bring it back into our grassroots like we had at the beginning.
Yep.
So we're pretty much going off full circle, aren't we?
Yeah. So mum loves aromatherapy. She believes. I mean, like all things, there's a real need and niche into different forms of holistic therapy. I remember back in the day where homeopathy and naturopath used to be a big a big thing, and nowadays it's slightly twisted and changed based on evidence-based
Yeah.
practice.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of people out there doing it. I'm not going to knock those or anything, but I just thought I'd get back into it again, do my little roll-ons,
Okay.
get into it. Yeah. So, what have you got planned coming up in the next couple of weeks, Wayne?
I mean, I start jazz. Oh, jazz is moving. So the only thing I really have coming up is next month I start university, which I think will be quite fun. I'm doing
Mm-hmm.
a postgrad in psychology, so I think that'll be an interesting challenge given the inability to do much physical activities at the moment.
You're doing your psychology.
Yep.
Yep.
So next month, that's when I'll be kicking it off, and then we've also got a little holiday. In business, it's really hard to find or justify time away from work. When you're a bit of a workaholic like myself, it's always nice to have reasons to go and have a holiday where you don't feel guilty or selfish. So we've got one of my cousins is getting married. I get to witness their special moment amongst family and friends. So that's always a fun experience, and we're doing that via a cruise.
Yep.
Nothing like being stuck in a petri dish, but I think I think the
It's a
break will be
big
wonderful.
petri dish. Uh, it will be.
It's just a lovely opportunity to just obviously celebrate my cousin's success in life and
Mm.
just enjoy having some downtime. We always, like I said, we always prioritize, especially in small businesses, you prioritize everything ahead of your own self sometimes. So I think it'll be quite nice to just reconnect.
Oh, it's been a few years since you've seen them all, though,
Yeah, it'd be good. Be
through
good to
life and
good
yeah.
to see everyone. I think it'll be quite fun.
Hmm.
We do
Yeah,
undervalue family, don't we?
we do.
We kind of get to a
Yeah.
stage where we're just caught up in our lives and things keep moving forward and moving in a direction, and we forget to kind of take a few steps back and realize that the small things that are mattering most importantly in our life,
Yeah.
like family.
Oh, plus you think you're connecting with them because media and all that sort of shit, but really
I'm
all you're doing
horrible.
is just.
I'm
Oh,
horrible online.
that's okay. Like occasional posts, you're fine. But
Look,
yeah.
my relationship with social media has definitely changed throughout the years. Like I definitely understand the algorithm. I know how to build up traction, engagement. I've had platforms that have had over 80,000 followers. I've experienced having viral videos, and I comprehend what social media is, and it's definitely a business. It's not reality. It's a fragment.
Mm.
And over the years, I realized it's not really, it doesn't hold much value to me. So, especially last year, was a big shift in my mental philosophy in life, and I had a lot of opportunities to really question what is it I actually like, and I have a tendency to repel social media because I'm from a generation, as you know, Mum, I'm from a generation
Mm.
that grew up without the internet. And
Yep.
so when I say to people, I'm an in-person person. I'm not someone that you're necessarily going to get with like on an online relationship conversational perspective. It's not going to happen. For a lot of people, it's hard for them to understand that, which is quite
Yeah.
fascinating to me because,
That's how we used to do it in the olden days,
that's what I mean. You would see your friends at school, and then you
or
wouldn't
at the
see them
pub.
until you go to school.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and then you'd spend the first couple of days catching up what you did in the holidays, and
Well,
yeah,
you'd
and
have
then
you'd have stories,
yeah, and it was good fun. It was fun. It's more real. They're not putting this
and
persona out there that's not really them.
well, that's the thing. Also, the other thing I find, someone like me who has, I'm dyslexic, so I have a learning disability. Hopping on the phone and messaging people is not as easy as what a more conventional neurotypical person would experience.
Mm.
Um, for me, when I read a message, I have to actually take time to read the message so I'm not misinterpreting it or missing any details. And then I have to, construct a message to obviously say back to whatever the stimuli is. And
Hmm.
that's in itself is quite challenging because 9 times out of 10, I'm working on uh, does it make sense? Am I using the right tense? How many spelling errors do I have? And it's hilarious
Have
because
I
a lot of people
have
say
I
to me,
overthought it?
"Oh, Wayne, you shouldn't really think about that. You should just be able to like send it." And I just don't think a lot of people understand that it's not it's not a limitation. It's an actual like it's a disability. Like, and people, yeah, sure, people may not really care if I spell a word wrong, but I have learnt to care, and
Yeah.
I am aware of it. And it's not something that I can just switch, as you're aware, Mum, in business.
Mm.
It's so hyper. Everyone's so hyper fixated on your grammar, on your engagement, on how you communicate. And if you say a word wrong, or if you spell a word, or if you're the wrong tense, or your grammar is not correct, it just gets magnified. And
Yep.
there's not a lot of wiggle room for a lot of people, and they
No.
can really hurt you, which I guess where
Oh,
all my trauma comes from.
I don't think it's intentional hurt, but yeah, because they have their own fixations and issues with that kind of media as well. So yeah, it's hard,
Oh,
bloody hard.
I would love to be able to spell.
The generation before me, they were taught to phonetically spell,
Ooh, miss
which was
that.
bloody yeah. So if you didn't understand the phonetics, near enough was good enough. And then coming in that change, when I spell now, I sit there and go, "Oh shit, have I spelt it right? Am I double guessing?"
Yeah,
But, and that's all because you thought, "Oh, was that phonetically or is it actual?"
yeah. And plus, dialogue has changed so much
Yeah,
over
it
the
has.
years. How we communicate and the way we communicate has changed so much.
It
Um,
has.
it's become very insular. Yeah,
It's not been great fun. And then when you think, like when you were kids,
such a
you would
boomer.
go when you're kids, like you'd ring your grandparents or you'd ring your friends to talk to them.
Oh,
Nowadays,
please don't ring
everybody
me.
just, yeah. Oh God, no, you don't answer it.
No,
But,
no. That's called
but
social anxiety now.
yeah, but when generations ago, that's how everybody got or wrote a letter. Now the other days,
Hmm.
but oh, you got through it all. You're doing well. Look, you're about to do your postgrad.
Yeah, that's the
So
thing. Like, I find it quite interesting when people say to me that, "Oh, you're well educated and you must have excelled in these things," and I don't think people realize that for me to actually do what I do is it's all coming from an insecurity. It's all coming
mm,
from a place of insecurity where I'm constantly seeking to better myself. And that's that competitive mindset that kicks in. Yes, I'm not doing the sport that I used to do competitively, but the mindset is still there. So I'm still trying to work on my weaknesses. I'm still trying to establish an understanding and a comprehension because English is not something that I'm ever really going to be able to understand on a comprehensional level because that's literally part of dyslexia that I won't be able to fully comprehend. And I also don't like the fact that there's essentially a power that's there that I'm giving
mm,
it. Um,
mm.
but I also like the fact that as I'm getting older, I still have this insatiable need to study and learn, and that is something that I've learnt not to be afraid of or ashamed of. Isn't that right,
Mm.
Jazz? Oh, 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 cuddles. Oh, good girl. So, Mum, what got you into
Yes.
aromatherapy, and how did you find a passion with essential oils and creating? And is that I'm asking three questions here. What got you into aromatherapy? What is it?
Hmm.
What's about aromatherapy that you enjoy, and what nurtured the ability to create products using aromatherapy?
Personally, I probably got into aromatherapy long before I realised it because when your kids were little, put bergamot on your pillows, lavender on your pillows, peppermint, just to help you settle. Didn't think it was a thing back then, just like the oils. And also when in the early 2000s, I thought there has to be something out there. So decided, yeah, I'm not going to say that word. Don't get don't get me started. Not saying it. um, did a aromatherapy course, understood how smell is the only sense that doesn't go through a nervous system in the body. I thought, wow, that's pretty friggin' amazing. And then enjoyed learning how to mix different smells and how they can smell really funky on their own, but put them with something else and they smell really great.
Like different
And
notes.
oh god, yeah, where that, because you've got the three notes, the top note's hitting you in the nose, second one at the bottom of the chest, and the other one right down there, and mixing them. I mean, yeah, honeysuckle. Remember me in that day,
Yep, I
honeysuckle.
remember that.
No one's friend. ah,
Yeah,
oh,
for people want
oh
to
god.
see some of Mum's old content, look way back into NZBMA and you'll see some videos of Mum talking about aromatherapy.
Honeysuckle. Oh
Uh,
god. When I look back, you friggin' idiot. But no, it's just something that's always there, and it's becoming more accepted in today's society. More people are interested in it, and
mm.
I just, always enjoyed it, and
Do
I
you
know
think that?
what's in it.
Do you think that's because it's become more accessible?
No, I think it's because people are sick and tired of not knowing exactly what's in their air fresheners,
Okay.
all the aerosols and all of the other crap that's in it, and a lot of people are sitting there going, "Oh, wow, look at this stuff! It's new." Nah, it's
What are
been
your
there forever.
thoughts? What are your thoughts on the likes of doTERRA and other similar businesses? Do you think that's helped or hindered the aromatherapy industry?
In one way, it's helped because I call it the Tupperware of the 21st century. Everyone
Avon,
has
yeah.
they have their Tupperware parties. They do a doTERRA party. They do very basic teaching people about the smells. They're not qualified, but they have great intentions. It's very, very expensive. They're, Apparently, the quality of their oils are great. I have been to a doTERRA party. Um, it's interesting. It's just the same. Some people wear Nike, some people wear Adidas. It's the same thing with doTERRA. Some people love it or they don't. I won't knock it. I just think it's very expensive. It has some
I,
really good products.
I think, like bouncing off what you're saying before, I think
Mm,
the use of industries like what was it, Young Living, doTERRA, and the like, they basically
mm,
helped facilitate a platform for people, and they made it in a way that was accessible and educational. They
yeah,
taught people about blends, and they taught people. There was some form of grounding of education, but I do
yeah,
believe I agree in the format that I believe that there was a limitation. It became more of a business focus, not so much about the education. So
yeah.
they did things like topical aromatherapy, or better known
Mm,
as is it rainbow therapy, where they orally,
yes, yeah.
over in
The
America,
peppermint,
it's
little
primarily,
peppermint drops. Yeah,
and as we know, that's not like when you're starting to play around with oral is different than putting it onto your
skin.
skin.
Mm.
Different ways of absorption.
Oh, good God, yes, definitely. But you've also like your $2 of essential oil you get
Yeah,
from the
yeah.
$2 shop. That stuff is not great. I
Well,
mean,
there's it goes down to
it's
like what we're
showing all
talking
those
about.
standards.
It goes about what we're talking about with candles, right? Like
Mm,
once you understand what's in them, then you'll see the quality of them. So with the cheaper essential oils, comparative to like lotus oil, for instance,
mm,
how it's distilled and the education behind the organic matter and how it's being distilled into getting the extracted essential oil is
yep.
completely different process than some of these diluted or infused blends.
Artificial
Yeah,
flat smells.
yeah.
And artificial smells burn totally different.
Exactly. I personally have a nerdiness around the chemical side of it. I like seeing how it's chemically done. But when you think of like going back what I was saying before with the oral aspect and putting it into your mouth, when you think of a true essential oil like bergamot,
Mm-hmm.
that is it's sun-based sensitive. So if you put it directly onto your skin and you go outside, it can actually turn your skin green. So there's like
Yep.
real chemical reactions that are happening, and they should not be done without education, in my opinion.
Because I mean, some of these peppermint drops that they have, if
Yeah,
you
good.
are, yeah, I mean, if you're on any chemo treatment or any
Yeah,
some antidepressants, it actually has a massive reaction to it.
grapefruit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah, I
Otherwise,
mean,
uh,
lavender even. Some
lavender. Yeah.
people have a reaction to lavender, and you think,
Uh,
shit.
Eucalyptus has a corrosive, so it can actually burn the skin as well.
Same with tea
Um,
tree oil.
exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
lemon myrtle will do the same.
Oh,
But
you and Lebametal.
oh, shut up. At least it's not Frankie. Oh, frankincense.
Yeah, I mean, there's becoming more understanding around psychology and smell. No different to
Mm.
psychology and color. It's similar concept. Lush does this very well. When you
Oh, do
walk
they ever?
into a place, you're already your oral senses are already telling you what you like. Places like Disneyland, they actually have scented areas in the park to promote different emotions. So there's quite a lot of research being done around scents and the psychological elements of scent for emotive emotions.
Mm. Oh, good, yeah. I mean, you could ask a lot of people if they can remember what their grandmother smelt like. And I'll
Mothballs.
use no. Oh, well, yours might have, but I don't know. But my grandmother, who was Welsh, always smelt like lily of the valley.
Mm-hmm.
And when I smell lily of the valley, the flower, that invokes a memory and an emotion. You remember, it takes me back to my nana.
Yeah,
And that happens with a lot of fragrances and a lot of scents and smells. And I think that's another thing too, is it helps that emotion. It brings, it's sometimes it can be like a cuddle.
yeah,
It's if you get the right scent, I smell lily of the valley, I think, oh, Nana's near, even though I know she's not. But it's that emotion,
yeah. And I guess it's
trauma,
one of the, but it's
or
also one of
trauma.
the things that we basically have promoted. So our sport blend that we
Mm.
use
Yep.
is it's meant to make people feel like, oh, that's us.
Mm.
So we have created our unique smell with the balm that we use that you make,
Yep.
and the aim is to basically, so when people smell it, if a family member is just seeing us and they smell it, or when they personally smell it, or they walk into the room and they can smell it, it's supposed to play with that emotion,
Yep.
because that's our signature.
Yep. I've
Hmm.
been using the same blend of essential oils and balms since we
Yep.
started.
Yeah, that was one of the things that we really worked hard on to really
Yeah.
establish a scent and
Mm.
and show the benefits and the properties behind the scent, but also from a marketing perspective, it was a good tactic and a great tool that not many people are even aware of. So it's good that we can even discuss this or talk about this, because this is a
Mm.
side that we show people, but they don't really
Yeah.
think about. Like, we think about every part of our business. We think about you turning up, your impact when you walk through the door,
Mm.
when you first meet us.
Mm-hmm.
We have meticulously thought about the
The
client from
smell.
every
Yep.
step. Yeah.
Yep. The
And
smell when you walk into the reception,
yeah,
what
yeah.
it looks like.
And over the
Yeah.
years, it's definitely changed through the adaptation that we've had to change. But I will say that, like, every time the nuance was there, it was always meant to feel homely,
Mm.
feel like a place that you want to be, and be
Yeah.
it separate to the clinical world, but also have that nice harmonious relationship between the clinic and a place where you want to be.
Mm.
Um,
I think if we
yeah.
had a coffee machine, we'd never get rid of people.
Oh, yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. I
Problem
just
there.
think over the years, I think a lot of people, especially with the last 5 years, especially
Mm.
all of the changes that we've done, we've kept our client in the forefront of our mind, and we've
Yep.
always thought, okay, what are our prices? We've got an economical crisis occurring. How do we sustain our cost, our value,
Mm.
without just increasing because of inflation. And I think we've
Mm.
got a nice balance where people can see the value, but they also can
Hmm.
see how it's a ongoing option and not a luxury.
Yep.
Because the last thing I ever want what we do um, to feel like a luxury, because no one
Yeah.
ever questions a person who does luxury-based treatments and what their qualifications are. Because
No.
like when you go to a spa, you never know what their qualifications are, or you go to the mall, you won't know their qualifications. So,
No.
in my mind, if you're not caring about the qualification, that's the luxury. And
Mm.
I've talked about this a lot in my profession anyway. The difference between therapeutic and relaxation, and the ideology that the two can exist harmoniously together.
Mm.
I believe relaxation is a luxury to be relaxed. That's how I always
Yes.
say it. Therapeutic is a treatment, and that's something that is not considered. You know, if you're needing a therapeutic treatment, it's because there's something in the background that's causing something in the front. That's usually how I process it anyway.
Mm.
Um, but it's interesting because,
And in the end, that
especially,
also can be relaxing
and the
because
way
that you're treating that issue,
yeah.
and in the end, it's almost relaxed. How many people walk out of here and
So
they go, God, I feel fantastic.
but what you're touching here is the common misdemeanor. It's this concept where what you're targeting is actually the therapeutic benefits of touch. So there's actually a lot of psychological benefits of being touched
Mm.
versus going in an environment that is specifically for relaxation. A
Mm.
therapeutic does not have the benefit of relaxation. It's for the therapeutic. You can have
Yep.
relaxation techniques and you can have a relaxation in the back of the mind, but in the foreground of what you're trying to achieve, there's always a therapeutic goal. And that's
Yep.
the difference that we're talking here. You can
Mm.
still feel relaxed. You can go to a therapeutic treatment and they can use relaxing techniques, but the main goal is not to be relaxed. And a lot of the time in therapy, especially in massage therapy, they're constantly trying to find a balance between the two. And it's
Yep.
interesting because as time progresses, you, a lot of these people working around that therapeutic relaxation kind of realm, they end up having to compete with one another
Mm.
and having to do education around why is one better than the other. And the reality is, you can go to a spa, you
Mm-hmm.
can spend an exorbitant amount of money on a lot of lotions and potions and all these things that you don't even know if they're qualified to administer and if there's any science behind it or any kind of regulating occurring. And then you can go to a therapeutic treatment and you go, but what are your qualifications? And
Mm.
that's the bit that I find a juxtaposition, quite a
Mm.
jarring position, because I'm sitting there going, if a person's not questioning but they want to be relaxed, then
Mm-hmm.
that's a luxury.
Yeah.
Whereas a person wanting a treatment, but they're going, what are your qualifications? It's like, do you do that? Like, where's the double standard here? Like,
Yeah. Do you do that when you go to the mall one? Do you ask them?
oh look, I'm okay with them all. Everyone
Oh,
has their place. Every
they
single
have
one
their
has their
exactly.
place. I don't believe
Mm.
there's one only option here.
No.
In society, we have a multitude of options, and that's what makes it great. It's just the double standard that happens with marketing that I start getting questionable because it's education. All we're doing is
Yep.
education.
Yep. And some people want them to be paid to educate.
Mm, I wish.
I know.
But I also think like
Yeah.
education is also a limitation as well. So like there's a lot of institutes in the health, fitness, and well-being industries that
Mm.
some of the top, because sometimes it's from the top dripping down that potentially is causing issues as well. So it's not always at the grassroots; it can potentially be happening on the upper, and so institutes could potentially be facilitating this like domino effect.
Yeah, I know. But hey, we're doing okay.
Mhm.
We get there. I think a lot of people also, like when they come here, they always comment how inviting our our clinic. Even when we were in the city, they always commented how inviting it always felt. And I think a lot of that was the smells that we had and the
Yeah, I agree.
fragrances and all that, and the plants, all our plants. I
I
don't think
like
there'd been.
I like clinical. I like clinical. If I had my way, everything would be like sterile. But that being said, I think I always think about the person who's coming to see me and
Mm,
what is their experience and who are they and how can I make them feel like they've been thought of. And that's
mm,
where the continuation of how we've gone from a clinical and before the clinic, even before we had that
mm,
one space, we had three other clinical spaces and they
mm.
had the same vibe.
Yep.
And I've managed to basically keep that same consistency and that same thread through all of the places that we've worked. And I
Yep.
think that's the key. That's our point of difference.
Mm,
I also think over the years I've kind of I offered too much of my own self as a therapist, and it's been nice, especially the last couple of years, to refine my availabilities and refine how much I'm offering and
yes.
providing.
Mm,
Because like back in the day, I used to be 60 hours a week, and I
yep.
felt guilty for dropping it down to 40 so I could train for coast to coast. Last year, it really solidified this notion when I was recovering that if I can't work at full capacity, what could I do? And that was a real
Mm,
sobering feeling because I love what I do. I've got so much
mm,
passion, there's so much drive. And the thought that I couldn't, if there was a potential that I couldn't do what I love doing, what would I like to do?
yeah.
And that was like a really uncomfortable place for me to sit, which gave a lot of growth. And it allowed me to realize that I'm a goal driven person. I like doing really, if it's not study, it's some random charity based event. Um, but the main crux is I'm always wanting to help.
Yep.
And I
But you've
think
always been like that.
this, yeah,
But the biggest thing that I'm so proud of you for the last 12 months, especially, is you drawing that line in the sand and go, no, this is my finished time. This is now Wayne's time. Because giving yourself to so much of yourself in the past to everybody, there was nothing left for you. And
yeah,
that's something I'm really proud of, that you've actually said, no, this is my time. If I choose to do outside that time, then that's on you. But not people saying, oh, I want this time, I want that time. Well, would you want me to come and visit you
yeah.
outside
Look,
your business hours?
at the end of the
but
day,
but I'm very
it's
proud that you've done that, though.
well, it's just at the end of the day, I've put things into perspective. Because of my passion, I'm prepared to work more and more and more. And the reality is, I had to understand why I had that feeling, similar to what I talked about just before about like having a reason. And
Mm,
I think the big thing that we're touching on here from a small business perspective is that if you have time, you can work. And if you're able to, you should do something. And that's something, the mentality I've always had in the 20 years of being a therapist is always going, cool, if I have time, I can do stuff. And it's always been not so much a hassle that you have to like, a hustle to get everything going. It's definitely been a case of if I stand still, what does that mean? And the last year has been really sitting in that uncomfortable position and realizing that putting barriers and a lot of boundaries into place is not a bad
mm,
thing.
mm,
And it's okay if people don't like it. Like, what's the worst that possibly will happen? We've experienced that now. We've done 4 restructures in the business.
yep.
Public perception is what it is. I'm not able to really change public perspective of myself. And it doesn't really matter. The more that we
Mm,
do for a community, and the expectation that the community will essentially see value in us, it's definitely changed. And the
mm,
more you give, the more that like the actual larger masses will just keep taking. And I realized
mm,
that similar to what I was talking about before, if I don't take some of that back for my own benefits, my own needs,
mm.
I'll be left dry and jaded, and I don't want that because I really love what I do and I want to
Yeah.
keep doing what I love. And if that means that there's a slight shift, then I have to take them chances and risks. And
Yep.
for me, this is something I can do. I can hop on camera and talk and this kind of
Yeah.
stuff, and that's all fun. And and yeah, it may not work. And like we said last time, I don't expect anyone to actually listen to us. It's just us doing stuff out of our comfort zone, talking about stuff that
Yeah,
we may or may
that
not.
would both,
Yeah,
but with also stuff that we're passionate about. I
yeah,
mean, we're both passionate about it. It's a good reason to get up every day.
yeah,
Most days anyway. But no, it's good. We love our people, our clients. We love our job, and we love what we do. So it is
yeah.
hard to say no. That, and I have that problem too.
So
I'm
as
guilty of that.
as
I know.
as we navigate through these trials and tribulations, working with different media like software devices, we're gonna keep playing around to see what's going to work best for us. And we're doing this non-scripted, so there's like us just ranting and then me trying to edit. I'm not very good at editing,
Oh,
but
I
it's
thought you
it's
did a
something.
great job.
Oh, look, I keep trying, and that's all that matters. Hey, and so
Yeah,
I think this is a good wrap. I think we
yeah,
can call it now. And so
yep.
yeah, that's another episode done. We did it,
Elbow
Mum.
deep, number two. We did it.
Yeah, elbow deep with Wayne. Woo! So have a wonderful time, and
Yep.
until the next one.
Okay. Catch ya.